Welcome to the Mid-Morning Show with Kamil. I am your host Kamil, and today I welcome my friend Andrea. Hello, Andrea.
Hello.
So, how are you doing today, Andrea?
I'm doing okay. Thanks. I thought I'm gonna make some other plans today, but then we had some issues at home. So yeah, we just stayed at home and relaxed.
So, you might be surprised to hear English again after a long time on this show. Yes, I have said many times before that I plan to record more episodes in English, but something always gets in the way, and it's also difficult to find more English speakers that are willing also to come and speak out on the podcast. And Andrea here is actually Czech also, so we are doing this international style, even though we could have done it in our native tongues, but we want to provide for the English listeners, who I know there are some, and they were eagerly awaiting a new English episode. So, by the way, we are both living in the same city, but we are not recording at the same place. But as this is pretty rare, I don't know if you knew even, Andrea, but I don't really record in person, because some people ask me so those people come to your house? I'm like, no. It's usually like online, right? I have like maybe 2 episodes that I have done in person, and I enjoyed it, right? But it's already hard to get someone to come on the podcast, and not to think about even like inviting them, in person. So I think for now on, yeah. What did you say?
Sorry, I just wanted to add that it feels like when you're trying to make employees to come to the office.
Yeah. Well, I'm also this is all volunteering work on both of my side and your side. So yeah. I'm sure if I had if I could offer a financial incentive, people would even consider coming in person if they were paid for that. And I would love to pay to my guest if I could, but because of the viewership, because of the low viewership. This is more like a non-profit organization, this mid-morning show.
Yep.
But anyway, not to get sidetracked too much, what we have for you today, our listeners, is interesting topic that is connected to Andrea's rich experiences from traveling the world.
That's excessive. It's not like I've traveled the world.
So I would start with this, yeah. From what I know, at least, from you, or what I remember, is that you can speak Chinese language fluently, right?
Yes.
And you also spent some time in Asia, so. I know you've been in China for some time, then Taiwan. Were there any other Asian countries that you visited?
I mean, I visited Japan, but that was just for a week. That was just a trip. So yeah, I stayed a year in China. I was living there for a year as a part of my exchange studies, because I studied Chinese on a university, and then I spent some time in Taiwan as well, but not for such a long time.
So what was the name of the city? Is it some known city in China?
Well, I'm not sure. Like it's the city is called Nanjing.
Okay, never heard of it.
Yeah. I think many people
But is it like this big
But
metropolis that we see on TikTok?
I mean,
Or
okay, for Chinese standards, it might be considered as a smaller city. It has only 8 million people. Uh, it's a okay. Maybe you've heard the English version of it, Nanking, and it's known for a massacre that happened there during the Second World War.
okay.
Nanjing massacre. I guess that's like if people have heard of the city, it's because of
Mm,
this.
are the Japanese connected to it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
because yeah, of course, the during the Second World War in East Asia, it was the Japanese. Uh,
Yes, they were causing wreaking a havoc.
yeah, they were the bad guys there. Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, they and Nanjing was the capital city. It's an old capital city, and Japanese made a huge massacre there in, I'm sorry, I don't remember the dates, at some point during the Second World War, and a lot of like thousands of people died. Yeah. So the history is quite sad, but it was nice. I like it because the reason why I chose studying in Nanjing, because like in my university, we had this opportunity to go to China or to Taiwan
Was
for
was this
either a
was this paid by the Czech
yes.
government, or
Not by the government.
what is the
Wait,
scheme?
maybe actually.
What was the scheme there?
Okay, so there was like this contract between the universities. So I studied in Masaryk University,
Mm-hmm.
and Masaryk University had some deals with different universities all around the world. And the Chinese Studies Department uh, had this kind of contract with several universities in China and in Taiwan. It meant that every year there were some free spots which were offered to students in Masaryk University. Yeah, so depending on a university, some university had 2 spots, some just had one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I mean, there is more ways how to get China or to Taiwan. Like there are different programs. There are some uh, sponsorships sponsored by China or by the Taiwanese government. But I chose this school in inter school. I don't know how to call it. Like this kind of a deal.
It's okay. Yeah, I understand. Like I'm not forcing you to to reveal every detail about the
I'm just
program.
thinking out loud now. Yeah.
It's,
So yeah, I chose to go to Nanjing, and I liked it because it's an, as I said, it used to be in a capital,
mm-hmm.
so there is a lot of history in the city. But at the same time, it's on the east coast. It's actually not far from Shanghai. It's only about like 1 hour 45 minutes away by a train. So yeah, as I said, it was 1 hour or 45 minutes away by a train, something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
really close to Shanghai, and like the east coast in China is the most developed part of China. So that meant that even in Nanjing, you would find like a very modern city center,
Mm-hmm.
skyscrapers, stuff like that. So I actually enjoyed the combination of the old and new.
And have you heard about this city that is often, jumping on me on TikTok? Like people showing like, oh, this city looks like cyberpunk, like from the game Cyberpunk, or like
Oh,
it's
Chongqing?
Chongqing, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
actually, when I was deciding where I would go, I was choosing between Chongqing and
have you
Nanjing.
been there? Have you visited it?
No. Unfortunately, not
Because it
because
like looks insane. I don't understand when.
yeah.
For example, first, when did they build it like that? When did they start? and
I actually don't know.
because like it has multiple floors, the city itself, so it is
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
actually like from some sci-fi movies. But I
Yeah.
would, I never like really went deeper in the history of it. How did this came to be, right? To make these like
Mm.
squares on top of squares, and it actually looks pretty dystopian,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, it does. I would love to visit. Yeah, it's a pity that I haven't been there. I haven't been there because it's on the kind of opposite part of China than I was.
Hmm,
So I have
okay.
just said I was like in the east
There are like
east part.
there are like underground trains that go through buildings, right?
Yeah, yeah, I mean they had to build it this way because the city has 30 million people.
Yeah, well, I understand, but
Yeah,
still,
but yeah, it's insane.
this is something that might only happen in China. That they will build a
Maybe.
railroad through building because it's at the end of the day it's a communist regime, and I guess if they say it's the train is gonna go this through this building, is gonna go through that building, right? Because I cannot imagine it happening here in like our European
No.
states or environment, because people would complain, and they will have to get approval from everyone, which you will not get. But it looks cool, yeah. But I
It
guess
doesn't.
this would be a good segue to what I, well, to my first topic question is that I would like to compare if we find some even things that can be compared in the let's say like a Asian culture, right? Means
Okay.
like differences between the in Chinese influenced cultures, I guess, because China is not just China. There is Taiwan also that you visited. There is that has strong ties with the Chinese culture,
Mhm.
and then how will we compare some everyday things to our, let's say, like a Eastern European, Central European culture?
Mhm.
So let's start with what was your first take when you like came there, when you first interacted with people there.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember something striking that strike you the most, like
Yeah,
uh,
I
from the behavior of the people, or it can be anything. Okay, if you can pick, you can choose one thing that you would say that startled you,
okay, so I
and we
I
can move on
remember.
from there. Yeah.
Okay, sure, sure, sure. Okay, so first of all, at first, I would like to say that I feel like we cannot speak about Asia culture or differences because Asia, that's the whole continent and there's many different parts of it. So I
Southeast.
can
Okay,
talk.
Southeast Asia. Okay.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I can talk about the East, not
Oh,
Southeast, East
okay,
Asia.
East.
Yeah. And specifically China. I've never been to Korea. I only visited Japan for 1 week. So yeah, I just wanted to make that clear. Um, and yeah, I remember like when I arrived to China, the first 2 weeks were hell because uh, I mean it was just very difficult to like make organize things like to go through all the administrative things we were required to go through as it is regarding dorms,
Mm-hmm.
insurance, banking, getting a phone number, going to immigration police. I remember it was very difficult. Again, like I'm Czech and I've been living in the Czech Republic, so I don't know how it feels for example, exchange students coming to the Czech Republic to deal with these things. Maybe it's actually not that different, But I remember when I arrived in China that I spent 2 weeks, meaning every day I would go to some office where some people would send me. That, for example, I don't know, like from bank, they would send me to the immigration police. That I need them to sign some paper, and then the
Mm-hmm.
police would be like, "No, we cannot sign that. You have to go back to the bank." And the bank would tell me, "Oh, they lied to you because they don't want to deal with it. So you have to go back." And that would be happening with like almost everything regarding like these administrative things.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of
That some
bureaucracy,
Yes,
and was
yes, a
problem
lot
with
of
English.
yeah. Even like in the immigration police, they didn't speak English,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, like it was the language barrier was challenging for sure. I mean, I studied Chinese, so I could speak some Chinese, but it was only after years of me studying it.
Mm-hmm.
And like for those 2 years, I studied like the textbook Chinese. And of course, when I arrived, people talk completely different.
Yeah.
So I felt like I knew almost nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me about 3 months before I adjusted to like not the dialect, but the
Slang.
speed, the pronunciation,
Yeah, well, I know
and just like of
this.
course.
This I guess it's natural process. Yes. I also when I moved to UK for the first
Mm,
time, and I was like I was confident with my ability to
mm,
speak English, and because from I had English in high school, yeah, and then also a lot of private tutoring when I was younger and all that. So I was living with English, and I thought I'm ready. But then again, when you meet like those ordinary, like let's say ordinary people,
yeah.
uh, and they have like their accents and
Mm,
different like slangs of English language, even in let's say in UK where is the like is the mainland for English, and then you can
mm-hmm.
be lost even if you like learn the basic English, because you're not used to that, right, at the beginning. You don't, because they speak English, but because for example where I went, in London, people tend to have like strong accent there,
Yeah.
right? and and the way of speaking is just different than what you are used to from books or
Yeah, for
from
sure.
movies. So
Yeah.
that's why a lot of people, and I struggled also, but I picked up pretty quickly.
Mm,
But I mean, in general, from what I hear from other people, yes, this is the biggest struggle when you learn some language and you go actually to the country where they speak it, and it's different still to speak like to, because people don't really actually don't really speak like the perfect English even there, right? Like perfect grammar English,
yeah.
right? So it might not be what you expect. Then I also wanted to touch on what you said about the immigration police, because from what I heard here, like in Czech Republic, in Brno, like from a friend
Mm-hmm.
once, that was not Czechoslovak, and that friend, lost a wallet, and called the immigration police about that to ask like if anyone have found it, maybe, and brought it to police, right? Or to like report, like that they lost the ID.
Mm-hmm.
And there was the funny thing was that so this person called in speaking English only, right, to immigration police,
Mm-hmm.
and and they said like in broken English that wait, like there is only one person who speaks English in the whole branch, right? And the
Yeah.
person is not here, so
Oh,
they
oh
we
boy.
cannot help you, right? So there was like So there was one person that at least at that time that spoke English on immigration police.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how
that's
how is that even
crazy.
possible? How can you be hired? Because let's say who are you speaking to when you work at the immigration police, right? You speak to
Mm.
foreigners, right? For the immigrants. You're not gonna
Yep.
be speaking to any Czechs, right?
Yep.
So I don't
Yeah.
know how they do that there, maybe, but yeah, there was. So I imagine that it can be difficult also
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
here for the foreigners, right? The bureaucracy, but I guess China, or like in China, the bureaucracy is might be even worse than here because of the regime the political regime that
Mm,
is there.
I would not say it's because of the regime necessarily. It's more like it's not how to say that. It's very there are many layers,
Mm-hmm.
and some parts are very mm, like outdated.
Mm-hmm.
For example, to put an example, yeah,
Yeah.
like I went to China for 2 semesters. If you went there for 2 semesters, you had to go before you even applied for the studies. You had to go for some medical examination. Yeah,
Okay.
so you had to go to your or to some GP
Mm-hmm.
in your home country, and your GP would have to sign some paper which the school sent you beforehand.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be just like so they're covered that if you have some health issues, it would not be, I guess it would not be on them to blame
Okay.
them for that. Yeah, so they would just have like some kind of proof about your mental state. Not mental state, health state.
Thank God.
Yeah, maybe in the future, but when I was there
Mm-hmm.
5 years ago, I didn't have to have any mental examination.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, I wanted to say, um, when you actually look through the paper, like through the form you had to or your doctor have to fill up, it's it just says like in the beginning, of course, it says like you have they about your height, your weight,
Mm-hmm.
your gender, like basic things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then it just says eyes, good or bad, hands, good or bad,
Mm-hmm.
legs, and so on.
Okay.
So like like there one would think that there is no need to fill up this kind of information because it doesn't say anything, it doesn't have any value,
Mm-hmm.
but they still make people to provide it. Yeah, because I feel like once there is something in the system, like they get used to like using some kind of administrative paperwork. They don't really think about it. Like they don't reflect on it after some time. Like, do we still need to use that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, shouldn't we get rid of something? Yeah, I think they are not very good at that. So then, yeah, it brings many layers.
Okay.
And yeah, going back to that first 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
how I struggle with the administrative things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course, like as you mentioned, the immigration police. Yeah, like that's what I said, that maybe like it's quite difficult to go through these things in the Czech Republic too. But what's surprised me was how some people would lie to you because they just didn't want to deal with you. At the, like how, for example, how I said it from the immigration police, they
Mm-hmm.
said, we cannot do it for you. Go to someone else. And then we would be sent back to the same person. Would After that we would say, okay, they told us that it's actually your job to do. They would be like, okay. So yeah, I was surprised at how they tried to avoid the
Working.
responsibilities. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And
So yeah, that was
and does
just
this
something to say.
does this mean that you could feel some discrimination because you are a foreigner? Have you faced that at the
Mm,
beginning?
no, it was more like an opposite.
So
Uh,
they are very welcoming to foreigners, or
yeah, like I think it depends. Like again, during my year in China, I actually didn't have many interactions with Chinese people as I expected, because we're kind of segregated. Because I lived in dorms, and like all exchange students were put in the same building, and there were only exchange students living in that building.
so that already sounds sketchy, segregated, separated foreign
Yeah,
students from the
yeah, yeah,
mainline students. So
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but but for example, like I thought, okay, so this is just at first I thought every campus or every university in China would be like that. But I actually met with another girl who was Czech, but she was not studying Chinese. She was a student of a completely different department, and she studied in Nanjing as well in a different university.
hmm
And it was completely different for her. She would just live with other Chinese students, and she would be very. She was like a part of the community, of the
hmm
student community there.
hmm
Yeah, because also like for me, uh, I visited only classes for exchange students because I only had language classes
hmm
because I was there as a student of Chinese. So of course, Chinese students didn't take Chinese language classes. Makes sense.
Yeah, but
But
you can study your own language at the university now.
I mean, you can, but it would be
I'm sure
it
they
it,
have
it
some courses like if you want to be some language professional, right? Uh,
I guess, but this would be like teaching sorry, not teaching, learning Chinese as a second language.
yeah, yeah, I understand.
So
Okay.
yeah. And yeah, like we had some classes more on literature and culture, but even those they were targeted at foreigners. So there were no Chinese students in my class,
Mm-hmm.
and there were actually not many events for people to meet. Like I feel
Events.
like yeah,
Uh-huh.
events, yeah. Like I feel like in Brno or in Prague, like it's very common that, like the students community, they just create events for people to meet.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was not going on there much. And yeah, maybe it happened like once or twice. I remember there was this English corner club that met like once a month. And even that was very low key. It was a very small group, and we went there. Me and my friend, we went there like twice. But yeah, it was
And
like okay, but it was. I thought that I would make more friends with Chinese
and
there, but I found it quite
is it
difficult.
possible to go there? Are there any
Mhm.
like schools that you can go there and they you studied English?
Um, so sorry, you mean like
If there are
a
universities that
department or?
that have classes in English in China, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, yeah. I just
Like you have
have
here in
to.
Czech Republic, you can study in
Yeah.
English a
Yes,
course,
but
right?
yeah, but then you would have to have it would have to be your major. Like for example, some of my classmates who were foreigners, they would have the Chinese language classes with me, or they would be maybe in a different group because it was our Chinese classes were uh, based on our level. Like if you
Mm-hmm.
were like an if you have just started or if you've been learning Chinese for some time. So yeah, like some classmates were attending these Chinese classes, but for example, their major would be politics or international relations.
Mm-hmm.
So they would also go to these classes taught in English about their major.
Okay, so they are English. They were English
Yeah.
classes.
Yeah, there.
Classes in
Yeah.
English language. Okay, and so okay, yeah, I understand that you said that you wish you could have interacted more with the native Chinese, but still, I guess you live there. I guess you went to shop or you went to some out to
Once or
a
twice. Yes.
bar or restaurant. So what was your like overall feeling if you could compare like how do you feel in amongst people there in comparison like how you feel here in, let's say, Czech Republic? Yeah, how are the people? I don't know, are they like, you know, looking at you more or in some weird way, or people in
Yeah.
shop, are they weird or are they welcoming and, you know, bubbly, smiling all the time? You know, what is the vibe of the people like, when you walk on the street or you go to a coffee shop or something?
Yeah. So people in general very nice.
Mm-hmm.
I would say they're more communicative than in the Czech Republic, for example.
Okay.
And people would definitely look at you. They would even stare, like if you're a foreigner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to that extent that they would take pictures of you. They would either take pictures with you
Mm-hmm.
or of you, or they would record you.
Okay.
That's
Randomly on the
that's
street.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly. And yeah, that's like a Chinese thing. It never happened to me in Taiwan.
Okay.
I think that people in Taiwan are more
Westernized
yeah, like they're more similar to like the European
culture.
culture and behavior, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, in China it happened a lot. Yeah, that either like if you would just walk through somewhere, people would just like even if you would be just walking through a crowd,
Mm-hmm.
people would be like, "Hello, hello,"
Yeah.
because that's how many people pronounce hello.
Uh-huh. Sounded German
Or
there for a second. The way you said it. Hello.
yeah, hello or hello.
And how
And
the waiters, or like, have you been to like a restaurant or?
yeah, people are like some like of course people as anywhere in the world are
Yes.
different. So some people would be more open, some people would be uh maybe even a bit annoyed that
Mm-hmm.
probably because they were unsure how to approach a foreigner,
Okay.
or some people would be a bit shy. But in general, people are very nice, even in restaurants, and they have like Chinese people are very straightforward in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like I also remember like it was I think my first meal I had in China. It was close to our campus,
Mm-hmm.
and we just went to this small bistro.
So for real Chinese food.
Yes,
So.
and there would be only characters. Of course, no English,
Mm-hmm.
and we had no idea what they had because we could not recognize most of the characters. Me and my friend Blender.
What, they were in some
And
different Chinese or why?
no, but it was just like we just didn't know characters. Like it's with it with characters it takes time, and at that
Like, you
time,
mean like the
it,
alphabet?
yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so yeah, we could not recognize the characters.
Mm-hmm.
It was also after a very long day, so we
Yeah.
were tired, so we
Mm-hmm.
just ordered something. And we had no idea how to eat it because I remember it was like this bowl full of rice, and next to it they gave us a little bowl with some soup in it, or it was like stock.
Mm-hmm.
It was like almost like water,
Mm-hmm.
and we had no idea what to do with it. So we just poured the soup into the rice,
Yeah.
and oh my God, like the guy, probably the owner of that place, just looked at us with like, devil look, almost like devil look, just very serious, like just what the yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
You
then
can
like we
swear.
had
You
to.
can swear here if you know. You go ahead.
Oh, okay, because I was not sure what is the policy.
No, there is no policy.
So he was like just like what the fuck, like you
Uh-huh.
stupid foreigners.
Yeah.
And yeah, he would just and that like he would not say a word. He would just come back to us, would just take our plates away, leave, and then he would come back to us with like a new plate of the like
Okay. Yeah.
a new portion. And that was it. That was like his way of saying okay that it was wrong.
So how did
But
he
like
show
yes.
you, or you just have to eat it separate? That's it.
Yeah, we just had to eat it separately. I
Ah.
mean, yeah, then like we got it like when the first option didn't work out, then it
Okay.
had to be this, and he
Oh,
didn't
well,
take
that's interesting that
our
he
meal for a
brought he
second
brought
time.
a new meal.
Yeah. So that's like they're very straightforward in this way, or like when it comes to
Opinionated also, I guess.
yeah, it is true. Like I remember that how, for example, when it comes to uh beauty and just like physical appearance in general. They're very straightforward in that. But, they they have no uh, shame of saying that someone's fat. Like they don't say, like in here, like you don't. People don't usually, like even if there is a bigger person, like it people understand it's rude to tell someone they're fat,
Yeah,
right?
but I
But
okay.
but not there in most cases. Like they, especially when it's older women,
Yeah.
they they have no shame in saying that right in your face.
Hmm.
So it didn't happen to me.
Well, you're
I
not
was
fat,
quite.
so
I mean,
I haven't seen you there back then, but
I mean, no. I was slimmer back then. So if someone called me fat, it would be weird. But I can imagine maybe now like I'm a bit like above the standards of beauty in some
hmm.
older Chinese ladies' eyes. But it happened to me another thing. Back then I had very short hair.
Hmm.
Yeah, I had very short hair, and uh, so and I also like sometimes I wore a bit boyish clothes. So I have two funny
What
experiences.
clothes?
Boyish,
Boy, okay,
like boy clothes. Yeah.
okay.
And yeah, I have two funny experiences. Like one was that I was in a park and there was this stall where you could borrow like nice ancient Chinese clothes.
Hmm.
Yeah, like the traditional
Okay.
outfit. And you would take pictures of that. Yeah, that was like the thing they were selling. That you would rent the clothes.
Just to take
You
picture
could put
in them.
yeah.
Okay.
And me and my friend thought that it would be fun.
Yeah.
So, like, we approached them, we said that we were interested.
Hmm.
And there was one lady who was responsible for, like, putting,
Yeah.
giving the clothes to the people and also, like,
And they gave you
making
boys'
them.
clothes.
No.
No.
But my friend, she had very long hair.
Uh-huh.
So she had, like, the perfect hair
Mm-hmm.
for in Chinese eyes. And then she looked at me and she just said, ugly.
What? Because you cut there.
Ugly.
Uh-huh.
She just said, you have such ugly hair.
In
And she said it
in
like,
English?
no, she said it in
I
Chinese.
know Chinese, okay.
Yeah, and we were speaking in Chinese before, so she knew that I understood her.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, here comes that they, they don't find it rude, or even if they do, they don't care.
But I like it.
And
I like it.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of
I,
refreshing
I
to some way.
yeah, I actually really like it. The what you just said about that, because if you think about it, I am not actually sure why is it mm, why is it so rude, or like why people take it so in a rude, that is rude to, if you tell
Mm,
someone that they are fat, right? I am not doing that because I
yeah.
understand the cultural nuances because I grew up here, but at the same time, uh, you see, it's so there is not taken. I don't think they even mean it by what you're saying, that they want
Yeah,
to
like that's the thing. Yeah, I don't think
uh,
they want to be mean.
they want to be mean, right? But here it's always automatically taken, especially with women. If you tell it to, because if you tell it to a man, then it's different, right? Even here, let's say in our culture,
To some way,
if
yeah.
you tell to a man that he is fat, is usually there is a smile after that, right? From our
Yeah, it's like a little joke.
it's
Yeah.
more like a woman, like a female thing here in like Eastern Europe or Central
I mean,
Europe.
yeah, because
If you call woman fat, that's I feel like that's taken as one of the biggest how you call it,
assaults.
ass- assault.
Yeah.
No, assault. That's that's too strong. No, there is other word you could say.
Mm,
Attack, maybe.
harassment, maybe.
Uh,
Yeah, I know what
insult,
you
insult,
mean. Yeah,
insult.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I
yeah,
was going to say.
yeah, yeah.
So that's what I wanted to say. Yeah. So it's like taken as one of the biggest insults what you can do here in,
Yeah.
let's say, in Czech Republic, if you call woman fat, right? Because and you like say it maybe in this like stoic way, like the Chinese, I can imagine, you know, make it
Yeah.
even worse. And maybe you can, and you are you are a woman. So
Yes.
have you ever thought about it? Like why is it like that here? That talking about women weight or like appearance is such a
Such
such a taboo,
stigma.
such a stigma around it.
I mean, yeah, I think it's never coming to a completely different complex topic, and I don't want to dig
Yeah,
too
I don't.
much
I'm
in it.
not saying that we have to, but we
Yeah, yeah.
touched
I
on
just
it
wanna.
already. So I want to get something out of you. If I have
Mhm.
taken you on this ride.
Yeah. So I think it's that when it comes to women in general, people tend to care about appearance more and comment on the appearance more compared to men. Uh, and I think it comes like in both ways that like people tend to comment on women's appearance, and it makes the women to care about the very often to care about their appearance more. It's like a cycle. Uh, and because people are insecure,
Mm-hmm.
it can, yeah, like some comments of this sort
I think
can.
because I've been through that. But yes, I'm not a woman, but people call me fat all like many times, and
Mm,
I guess maybe that's why I feel that I am also. Because if you ask me how I feel about myself, I would say I feel like I'm fat. Yeah. In
mm,
I guess to some standard of a
mm-hmm,
mm, of a body that you are supposed to have in
mm-hmm.
our culture or environment. So, but it's not like I am losing my sleep over it, right? If someone tells me I'm fat, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
but
I
that's
know it's
you,
different.
like some people do.
Yeah, I know. I understand it, but it's also it's another interesting thing that we have discovered here, that this is a huge difference between the, let's say, the Chinese and Czechs in this way.
Yeah, also, but I want to say one thing. Like when people in China comment on that openly, it doesn't mean that the people who are commented on don't feel bad. It just means that people tend to say their opinions of the sort
Okay.
more
But they
unfiltered.
also have like British beauty standards there, right? I saw like
Yeah, yeah, and they're
Chinese
yeah, yeah, yeah,
models, and they are like
and they're
usually long hair,
harsh.
slim, and, very very thin body. I think is like a beauty standard there,
Yeah, 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 and the beauty standards are can be
and
toxic.
skin
Are
also,
quite.
right? Like white skin is
Oh yeah, yeah,
taken
yeah,
more
yeah, yeah.
as a beauty, as more beautiful, than
Yes,
the yellow, than
dark skin.
different
Yeah.
different colors, like, because some people call Chinese yellow, right? Yellow people, I guess they
Yes.
some of them might have some yellowish skin color or skin tone.
Mm.
uh, okay, so what
So yeah, I
about,
just wanted.
yeah, you
Yeah,
want to add
sorry.
something to that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add one more thing. Yeah. So the beauty standards in East Asia are actually it's it's quite a toxic culture surrounded it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanna say, yeah, like that people. It's not just about the appearance, but it can be like the older generation tends to be very strict about the younger generation.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't have to be the appearance necessarily, but also like your grades at school.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
And
I heard about this. Like,
yeah,
there's loads of memes, right, on the internet about like Chinese parents, what they expect from you in at school.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, like they can tell you in your face that you're fat, but some people, they could tell that even to skinny girls, and then some of them are like thin, like unhealthily thin.
Yeah.
So yeah, in some way, it's refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of nice that yeah they can just say what's on their mind in your face,
Mm-hmm.
but it still has consequences. Yeah, that's just what I wanted to say.
Okay. And you mentioned food, and I just want to ask
Mm-hmm.
like simple question that we
Mm-hmm.
know Chinese food is super common nowadays
Yep.
around here.
Yep.
So everyone, and I would say like nearly everyone had Chinese or like Chinese food in Czech Republic at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So how would you compare uh, the food here? Like,
Uh-huh.
if you had food in China and you had Chinese food here, and let's say in Czech Republic, do they compare, or is it like a different level, like back in China?
It's a different level in China. Like it's not very comparable because as with other like different cuisines, for example, with Indian as well, the cuisine which is sold in Europe
Mm-hmm.
is adjusted for the Europeans.
Okay.
So it's kind of difficult to find
So did you like
authentic.
it? Did you like it?
Yeah, yeah,
The authentic
I
Chinese
did.
food? Yeah.
Yeah, I mostly like it. I had some. I mean, I didn't eat any exotic, very exotic food.
Yeah.
Am I disappointed?
Any bats?
Uh, no, I
No
didn't eat
bats.
any bats. No.
Okay.
But yeah, I had a few like a bit weird experiences. Not many. I just remember that many meals were too oily.
Mm-hmm.
Like in general the food was tastier, much cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
very often oilier,
Mm-hmm.
spicier.
So greasy, more greasy.
Yeah, more greasy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I that was like also one thing I had to get used to.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because yeah, like I wasn't like necessarily in a I was not in pain, but I just my body struggled with the greasiness in the beginning a bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then like even when I got used to it, how with the level of greasiness, I just had to drink Coke with their meals like almost every time
Mm-hmm.
when I was having some yeah, when I was eating.
Okay.
I mean, luckily the Coke there was super cheap. Back then, I don't, again, like, I don't know what are the prices now, but 5 years ago, Coke, like, what is it, like, a half of liter of Coke would be 3 yuan, so that would be like 9 Czech crowns.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I would just drink Coke, like, all the time.
And it tastes the
To,
same
yeah,
than
the
in
Coke
Europe.
tasted the same. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Interesting. Yeah.
definitely more greasy. And, like, it would be
Have you
either
had
you had
have you had some problem with the like with your stomach after some meal that you felt like throwing up or something? Like some food
no,
poisoning.
no, luckily not. I was a bit scared that something like that would happen,
Mm-hmm.
especially when I would be traveling to some, for example, smaller towns.
Mm-hmm.
And like there is many stalls outside, and sometimes I would eat out of them, but luckily I've never had any problem. But my friend was also my roommate. She has a more sensitive stomach.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when we were traveling together, sometimes she would have some small issues, like nothing serious. Like she would never go to a doctor, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes she would feel bad for like a few days after some meal.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Understand.
And
Yeah.
yeah, like the just like what I missed, going back to the greasy meal, and I said
Mm-hmm.
that okay, then you had to drink Coke with it. Also, beer would be very nice with this kind of greasiness, right? When you
Yeah.
think of it. But the beer sucked big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had like uh what they would usually sell in like small stores would be like Qingdao. I don't know if you've heard of it. You
Mm-hmm.
can even find it in some Asian stores in the Czech Republic,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the worst beer ever.
Mm-hmm.
And they would also not put it in fridges. So
Okay.
when you would go to a store, there would be many fridges, like 20 fridges full of Coke or tea or water. But the beer in cans would be
Never in the
always
fridge. Never in the fridge.
never in a fridge, no.
Never refrigerate. Okay.
So it was also like one of the first thing I think like after the first week
Uh-huh.
of me and my roommate in China, we would go and buy some beer like for a small celebration of surviving the first week.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think my friend threw up
Okay.
because just
Well, but
and
just where was the
just
friend
because
come from? Where the friend was from?
she's also Czech.
Well, we have different standards for beer, right? Because Czech Republic
Yeah.
makes the best beer in the world. So I
Yeah,
mean,
and you could find actually.
everything will be bad in comparison.
Yeah, that's true, but it was extremely bad and
Yeah.
warm. So
Okay. Yeah.
you could
And
actually find Pilsner in some stores, in some bigger stores.
okay,
They would
yeah.
sell Pilsner.
At least something.
And yeah,
But I guess it will be
and
more expensive than the home
yeah. It
products.
was more expensive. Yeah, that was like
And
if you want
and what
full taste.
about the social life in a way of or not social life? What I wanted to say, because I know from what I heard before that like living in China is the one of the main differences is that you use like social media apps or any kind of apps are all like specialized just to use in China, right? That they have like their own versions of everything,
Yep.
right? So they have their own like WeChat or something. Is it called?
Yeah.
WeChat.
Mm-hmm.
It's like so that's like a Facebook, right?
Yeah.
And then there are multiple these V things, like V Pay, right? Instead of a Google Play or like Apple Pay.
Yeah. They basically.
So they have like no access to any. Is it like they have no access to these Western apps? Let's say like Google services or.
Yeah, it's banned. It's
Yeah.
blocked.
So no Instagram, no Facebook.
Yeah, no WhatsApp.
No Twitter or X.
Yeah. Yeah. No X, no Facebook, no Instagram, no YouTube.
So they live in their own bubble, though. They have like but hey, the TikTok, I guess, is something that.
I mean, TikTok is Chinese, so of course.
Yeah.
But TikTok wasn't a thing when I was in China.
Yeah.
So yeah, like all of these very.
So have you how did you live there? Like, have you used a VPN to if you wanted to talk to someone back in Czech Republic?
Yes, yeah. So I have used VPN.
So they don't. They don't block VPN also, so that works. Or you can also have problems with VPN there.
Yeah, you definitely have problems with VPN there as well. It depends what kind of VPN you use. Like because, for example, like I would have downloaded several VPNs, and sometimes one would work and the other would not. So it was quite random. So you just had to be very patient and tried different ones. And the annoying part was that when I was preparing for, me being there in this kind of environment, and I was doing some research on VPNs, I heard that this one VPN, I don't even remember the name, but it was like the most recommended one. It was paid. And I read many reviews and people said, okay, it works. But very soon after I arrived to China, there was a huge blockade of that VPN from China's firewall. And it didn't work for like a month straight. And even after that, it didn't work the same as it did before. It's also true, like during the last few years, the censorship got stronger.
So they live completely. The ordinary people live completely isolated from Western world. When they go on their own social media, they see only like whoever is on those socials, right? Because they don't see what's going on on Instagram or Facebook or the trends.
Yeah.
So have you like tried to have you tried any of this, or have you like I guess you were forced to have something, right? Some of those apps.
I mean, yeah. You had, for example, you had to have WeChat, you had to have Alipay. Yeah. Without these two, you would not be able to live.
So everyone pays with their phone.
Yeah, exactly, because it's connected to paying, and you usually don't use debit or credit cards at all. You usually just pay through WeChat or Alipay.
But have you had to open some bank account?
Yeah. You have to have a bank account, so you have to have a Chinese bank account, and you have to have a Chinese phone number. So I used those two. Plus, I used some because also Google Maps are not supported in China, right? It belongs to Google. So we had to use like a Chinese alternative
Mm-hmm.
for these maps.
And were they good?
And
Those
yeah,
alternatives?
they were actually better than
Okay.
Google Maps.
And what about the social media, the WeChat? Like, was it
Uh,
was it
it
good?
was fine. It was fine. Like the WeChat is more like Messenger. It's not
Yeah.
like Facebook,
So
or it has
what is the
layers.
name? What is the name of their like Facebook alternative?
Okay, so it's something between WeChat and
Weibo? Is it Weibo? No.
wait, it's called some. I forgot. Gee. Sorry, I can't remember right now. There is one more.
On Google it says WeChat. Is the or
I mean,
Sina
WeChat is
Weibo. Sina Weibo.
yeah. So there is Weibo.
Tencent QQ.
Oh yeah, QQ. Yeah, that's the one I wanted to
Yeah.
mention.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that's
So they have
more.
multiple
Yeah, they
social
have
media
multiple. Yeah,
platforms.
and and since I mean, I use them, but only to like a smaller degree. Again, coming back to, like I didn't know how it works, like what
Mm-hmm.
I can do with all those apps. Plus, I didn't have many Chinese friends. So,
But so you
yeah.
feel they're kind of is isolated as a foreigner coming.
Yeah, but I think, maybe if I lived there for a longer time, it would have changed. Because in the end, 1 year, when you go to school from Monday to Friday, doesn't really give you that much time to make friends. Like, of course, like it's not a short amount of time,
But if you
but
don't have like access to any apps from your home,
yeah, I mean,
that's the way I
yeah,
mean.
yeah,
Like you feel isolated
yeah.
from what's happening.
Yeah, that's true. Because also, like, if I remember it correctly, and if it hasn't changed, the thing with WeChat is that there are like groups, there are like communities.
Mm-hmm.
You imagine they would have like their group chat, maybe
Yeah.
like a wall where you can make some posts.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to join that group, a person who's already in that group has to join you. Or
Invite
has
you.
to like
Invite
you.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's true, like unless you know about someone, it's very difficult to get to some kind of a community like
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. So have you?
And
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to say one more thing. That's also like I'm so used to, for example, when you want to know if there is some event going on, you either go, or at least I always go to Facebook and search for something, or I just Google
Yeah.
something. Like for example, New Year's Prague event, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was trying to find if there is something going on Chinese New Year's Eve, or not the New Year's Eve, sorry, on the Chinese New Year, like the Chinese New Year.
Yeah.
And because I always heard it's such a big thing, so I tried to find something, and it was very difficult. And I even asked around, and no one really knew. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's
So people live
definitely
in some sort of social bubbles also there.
yeah,
On
of course,
different
like
layers than in than let's say here.
yeah, like you still have some content from the West, let's say, but it's filtered. Yeah,
So
it's
yeah,
censored.
so this is what I wanted to ask. I guess to close this topic is the how the because we know that yeah, China is a communist country in its core,
Mhm.
so they spy on their people, or they like to censor things, right? To make people see what they want them to see and to only know what they want them to know, right? Even like through news or. So how does that affected you? Did it in any way? Have you felt some kind of
If I felt endangered, you mean?
Oh no, I mean spied on, or like how was the censorship of something? Have you noticed it anywhere? Like in any way, have you noticed this
No.
lack of freedom? I guess.
Uh, no. For me personally, uh, it was just a big annoyance. Yeah, like, yeah, just as I said, like, I had problems with the VPN because
Yeah.
even the one I thought it would work, it did not. And and that's what I didn't mention when we were talking about the VPN before, that even if it worked, it would be extremely slow. So, for example, I could access Messenger, but my message would be, and it would be just a text message, and it could be sending for like 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or if I tried to watch a video on YouTube, for example, I would watch a video, a 10 minute year old, not year old, 10 minutes long video for like 45 minutes because it would get stuck all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was just annoying. For me, it was extremely annoying.
So I guess if you wanted to Google something, you just use their own version of some Google,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. But I also want to mention that, like, I was there during quite a peaceful time, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
I was there before COVID. I was there before the protests in Hong Kong or before the war in Ukraine. So like maybe like if I would be there now when these things were going on or are
Yeah.
going on, and maybe I would see the censorship, or I would sense it more
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Yeah.
this is kind of information that would
So
be censored.
yeah. So so then we also mentioned that you went to Taiwan for a trip,
Mm-hmm.
and Taiwan is a democratic country, right?
Yes. Yes. Taiwan is
But
democratic.
they have some kind of problems with China for many years now, because from what I like just briefly read, is that Taiwan was part of China in some historic times. Then it became a colony, I think British colony, right?
No,
Or
no,
someone else,
Japanese.
Japanese colony. But do you know like what's going on with the status of Taiwan? Does China like influence it somehow, or do they live in their own world there, or
Okay,
because
so
I only know
so
that China
just
wants it back, but
yeah,
I
yeah,
guess
yeah.
they
So
didn't succeed in that yet.
no, yeah. So I can provide a bit of history here. So Taiwan, if it was Chinese or not, that's also like a co- controversial, and there is no direct answer because Taiwan was an island living on its own. Then Portuguese colonists found it. Then later the Chinese dynasty, before it became a republic, discovered it and made it like kind of a part of the what is that word? Imperium.
Chinese, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yeah. Then uh, during Sino-Japanese War, which China lost, one of the things China lost to Japanese was Taiwan.
Okay.
So Taiwan was a Japanese colony for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
And after the Second World War, of course, the colonies the territory of Japan was taken away,
Yeah.
and it was part of the Chinese Republic at that time because it was the dynasty ended in 1911, and in China after. So sorry, I will also continue with that 1911. So at 1911, the last Chinese dynasty Qing ended,
Yeah.
and the Republic of China (ROC) was established.
So it was the communist revolution.
No,
let's say.
no. No. It was the leading party was Kuomintang,
Mm-hmm.
and not longer after the Republic of China was established with Kuomintang
Mm-hmm.
KMT leading. There started a conflict with communists, with Chinese communists, and the civil war in China would start.
Okay.
There were two waves. The first wave was before the before the Second World War.
Yeah.
Then it stopped because Japanese attacked China, and after the Second World War ended, the civil war in China continued.
So there was some guy Mao, right?
Yes,
There's some
yes,
important figure in this.
yes. So there was
The
Mao
bald
Zedong.
guy
Yeah, the
with
bald
some
guy.
book.
Yes, with a red book.
Yeah.
And he would be, and his rival of this Kuomintang
Yeah.
party, his name was Chiang Kai-shek. Chiang Kai-shek.
Mm-hmm.
And this Kuomintang party lost, and they escaped to Taiwan.
So there was like an actual war that they were like shooting each other.
Yeah,
So-
It was a war. Yeah,
Okay.
so many people died.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so Chiang Kai-shek with Kuomintang escaped to Taiwan,
Mm-hmm.
and they said that Republic of China is continuing there, with center in Taipei.
But there was no
Taiwan.
one in Taiwan when they came there.
No, there were people living there already, but also like Taiwanese Aborigines are are of a different ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
So there were the Aboriginals, and there would be also like some Chinese,
Japanese people.
yeah, also some Japanese from the colonies, but
But,
not many.
yeah.
Most Japanese left. But yeah, like there were not that many Chinese as like ethnic Chinese as there are in Taiwan now, because many of them came with this Chiang Kai-shek.
Yeah, but they
Guy.
came there and they just established the republic
Yeah,
there,
they
and there was no war.
Yeah.
Like Taiwanese people fighting back or something.
There were some conflicts. There were.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like they said that the true China is in Taiwan now.
Okay.
While Mao Zedong, with the Communist Party, established the People's Republic of China,
Yeah.
the capital in Peking,
Mm-hmm.
in 1949.
Yeah.
And since then, this conflict remains because the Communist Party in Peking says
Beijing.
Taiwan, in Beijing, says Taiwan belongs to us.
Yeah.
While the Kuomintang party said, no, the true China, we're representing the true China. So Taiwan, this island, and the mainland China is one country, and we in Taiwan represent it.
Mhm.
So originally, in United Nations, I don't know how it's called in English. Like there is this group of, I don't know, 5 countries.
Mhm.
Like there's like Russia, the US, China, Germany.
Yeah. I know. I
You know,
understand.
like the
The
yeah.
leading
Sorry, I
world countries.
yeah. I don't remember the name right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is China as well. And originally, they were represented by Taiwan because
Mhm.
originally also the West was supporting Taiwan
Mhm.
as the true China, as
Yeah.
the representatives of China. But then, because of different conflicts,
Mhm.
because like the original thought was like Mao Zedong was still thinking that they would invade Taiwan, defeat the Kuomintang
Yeah.
party there, and
But they never
take
tried.
Taiwan
They
back.
they never tried it.
But no. And same for Taiwan. Taiwan also Chiang Kai-shek, the leader of the Kuomintang party, was saying he's preparing for invasion to mainland China
Yeah.
and also take it back.
But is
But
that party still there in Taiwan as a leading party?
yes, it's not a leading party yet, not now, like not
Uh-huh.
at the moment, but
But
it was a leading party for a long time. And actually, when coming back to, like you ask if the Taiwanese or like the
natives.
people living there, yeah, the natives and the people who were living there before
Mm-hmm.
the party came there, if they just accepted it, they did not. There were several incidents when people fought back, and the reaction was harsh. And actually, then they established martial law in Taiwan, which lasted for many years. I forgot the dates and for how long it was,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember it was like one of the longest martial laws in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so this one guy, Chiang Kai-shek, was leading Taiwan for a long time till he died, and then it was his son.
Mm-hmm.
And in the late 80s, there started to be some pro-democratic movements.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, in the 90s, there were the first democratic presidential elections,
Mm-hmm.
and a native Taiwanese person was elected as the president, and since then we can talk about the
Yeah, but it's funny
democratization.
how you said that they plan to invade and then they plan to invade, but and this is the real China, but Taiwan is really a small island in reality, right?
Yeah,
And they were
yeah,
claiming
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the real
It's more than the Czech Republic.
this is the real China, but the China
Yeah,
mainland state is one of the biggest countries in the world,
yeah.
and they of all places they chose this island to fly, to escape.
I mean,
Mm.
because it belonged to them,
Yeah, I
you
understand,
know.
but
So,
still,
so
it's the size is
yeah. But when you think about it, it's quite funny. Yeah.
uh
So like with the democratization of Taiwan,
so
like
you
the
you
Taiwan.
yeah.
I just wanted to say that like while the mainland China, so with the Communist Party (PRC), they're still talking about bringing Taiwan back
Yeah.
because it belongs to them.
But
They
now
say,
Taiwan is has like United States are like backing the Taiwan, right? To be
yeah, to some degree, yeah.
well, they
But
will
yeah,
not
also
let
like
China just invade it because
pro-
when the Ukraine Russia war started, then there was some China also tried to like they were trying some things. They were doing some like naval trainings around
they
Taiwan,
still, I mean, they still do that several times a year.
but the US is there, because Taiwan is
Yeah.
one of the maybe the most important part of the world for silicon microchips.
Yeah.
Which is funny that this small island,
Yep.
holds so much importance because of the factories that are built there, right? Like
Mm.
Nvidia, which is one of the biggest chip like electronics company in the world. They make not just graphics cards, they make all kinds of chips for different uses. And now they are also creating one of the most advanced AI systems too, and they are Taiwanese, right? And there are other companies also that I think is TSMC in Taiwan also, and I'll just check.
I don't know. I'm not very skilled in these things when it comes
TMC.
to companies.
Yeah, TSMC, which is a Taiwan semiconductor manufacturing company. That's like the biggest chip manufacturer in the world, right?
Oh yeah,
So like nearly everyone is paying them to create chips for them. So like Apple, Apple
Yeah.
the iPhone or the MacBook. Like yes, it's a chip. Let's say like Apple designs this chip and everything, right? But they don't have the manufacturing capabilities, right? For some reason, well, I guess money is the answer. Like it's cheaper to produce it there, I guess. But they send it to TSMC in Taiwan, and they build the chip. Same with Samsung or all kind of other companies, right? That they like design their chips, but the TSMC is the manufacturer of the
Yeah.
chips. So
Yeah, like
they are
yeah.
they basically control the whole world market on the computer chips. So that's why US is trying to guard Taiwan, right? Because if there was an event of attack or something, and these manufacturers, this chip manufacturer or like its buildings or something would be destroyed or taken over by China, there would be really a critical moment for us, actually, in the whole Western civilization. Europe, US, everyone here, we will be affected because most of the things we use here, be it phones or laptops or whatever, use chips that were manufactured in Taiwan, right?
Yep.
And if you would lose those factories, we will be fucked, you know. So because it's very we could build chip factories here, right? But it takes years of building the factories to train the staff and all this know-how, right?
Yeah, and
The,
as far as I know, like the know-how of like some specific chips has only Taiwan.
yeah,
They don't want to
yeah.
share because of the security. Yeah, that's
So
like their
people
security
thinking about
thing.
nuclear war, like Russia dropping bombs and all that. This is all very bad, yes. But you don't go into the don't even try to Google around what would happen if we lost Taiwan to, let's say, China or something, because that would be very bad if we lost access as, let's say, Europe. We would
Yeah.
lose access to these chips because we will not be able to manufacture cars. I mean, whatever, because the chips are everywhere now, right? Everything has some
Yep.
sort of chip, and most of and and like it says, I even here, because I want to fact check myself, right? But it says here like TSMC produces at least 90% of the world's most advanced computer chips. So, you know, it's also, I don't think it's really good. It's also good that we have so much stake in this one island, right? And without it, we will be in very bad situation. But yeah, that's the reality. But anyway, we got sidetracked a bit. I just wanted to say, so that I'm glad that you shared some of the background of Taiwan, right? How they operate there. So I guess if you go there, it feels more familiar there. Like you can use all the Western apps work. There is no censorship there.
There's no censorship there. No.
So you can access Google Maps, Facebook,
Yeah,
Instagram.
anything. Yeah.
Okay, but I guess they still do have some their own social media, right? Apps there or not?
I mean,
Or
probably.
is the Facebook, Instagram is the also the leader there?
I mean, yeah. Like many Taiwanese use same platforms
Okay, yeah.
as people in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So if it's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube.
So
Uh,
how is the life in Taiwan in comparison to China? Like again, like the same things. You
mm,
went there, and let's say people
yeah.
on the street, are they staring at you, or how are the people in the
No.
restaurants, or like just all around? Are they nicer, or
Okay,
is there a difference that you can talk on?
I'm gonna use one. I don't like me saying that, but I feel like it tells the reality a lot that
Mm-hmm.
Taiwanese are more civilized than
Mm-hmm.
Chinese in general.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning that they would not stare. In
Mm-hmm.
most cases, they they might look at you. They see you're a foreigner, but they don't stare, and they're not taking pictures of you. They're not recording you.
Mm-hmm.
Also, places are more clean. They don't spit on the ground as much as Chinese do.
No, Chinese
This
like
is
to spit,
something,
yeah, on the.
yes, yeah. Especially older Chinese men.
I
They
guess they
spit a
smoke.
lot.
I guess they smoke a lot also.
Yeah. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
But it also like comes with there is just like this idea that I think it comes from Chinese medicine that it's not good for you to have
To hold the spit.
exactly. Yeah. So it's better for the body to to get it out,
Okay.
even if it means just spitting on the ground.
Uh huh.
Yeah, and I did not see that in Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there would be more English. Uh, yeah, more people would speak English, or even in like
Mm-hmm.
restaurants, stations, you would see English more compared to China.
Have you felt safer there than in China, or like same,
About
like
the
on the
same.
street?
I've never felt in danger in China. Only once when I was taking a taxi,
Mm-hmm.
because I've heard quite a few bad taxi stories from China.
Mm-hmm.
And some were told to us by teachers at school in China.
Mm-hmm.
So they knew that that was a real thing. Um, because with how some things uh, which are not in some kind of a system, let's say, as for example, as the taxi drivers, yeah, that they are not a part of some app. Like, for example, even in the Czech Republic, so you have Uber, you have Bolt, and you just have like these self-employed taxi drivers.
Yeah.
So, and these self-employed taxi drivers, they're not that observed by like some employer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like they're more flexible, and they're not that uh, obliged to follow some restrictions, some rules, so on.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard some bad stories that, for example, some young girl would take a taxi, the self-employed taxi, and the taxi driver would just take her to some place where he met with his friends, and they would rob the girl.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like a business he would do. He would just take some client and he would just drive them to some place where he would meet with more people, and those people would rob the client.
And what happened to you?
Yeah, like nothing bad happened to me, but once I was taking a taxi at night or in the early morning to an airport
Mm-hmm.
because my dorms was very far from the airport.
Mm-hmm.
and at the time public transport was not going, so I had to take a taxi, and it was one. It was like 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
and I think I did not, because usually I would just use the Chinese app for taxis. It's called TD. It's
Mm-hmm.
like Bolt or Uber.
Mm-hmm.
But I could not catch any taxi there, so I just found some taxi, and there was also, so there was the driver, and there was another guy like in the front seat, and they would just talk like cheerfully. And I was not, and I was just thinking of that story the teacher said and of the other bad stories, because it just felt wrong that there is another person in the car.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was, and I was just thinking like they could just take me anywhere. But yeah, luckily that was not the case, and everything
Was this
was
guy
fine.
another customer or what they were talking about?
No, he was just friend, and they talk in some weird dialect. I could not understand them. So yeah, I think they were just friends. And he was just hanging
But I
out.
guess this is also a big thing there that you have lot of dialects even in the same area.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like Chinese, like when we talk about Chinese, that's like standard Chinese. It's the official language which is spoken in Beijing. But for the rest of China, there are different dialects, and some of the dialects are like, in some cases, extreme cases, people, even if they are Chinese, they're from different parts of China where they speak their own dialects. Sometimes they're not able to understand each other in a spoken language. So they have to use the characters, the written language, which remains the same. But yeah, in Nanjing, they would speak an understandable Chinese, very similar to the standard Chinese. But for example, back in like where Chongqing is, in that area, they speak in a very different Chinese. So that's also the reason why I wanted to go to study to Nanjing, because I knew that I would understand shit if I went to that part of China,
Okay.
and that it would not be very beneficial for me.
And back to Taiwan, do they?
Yep.
So could you use the Chinese there? Like people, is it also like part of the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
languages they use?
Yeah. So there are more languages spoken in Taiwan, but the Chinese is the most common,
Mm-hmm.
and they also speak in a way similar to the standard Chinese. Like they like there is just one letter that they pronounce a bit different, but or maybe two, but otherwise it's the same. And also they compared to mainland Chinese, people in Taiwan speak slowlier, which is nice
Mm-hmm.
because in in China they very often speak very fast. So of course it's more challenging to understand.
Mm-hmm.
But I usually I had no problems with understanding uh, Taiwanese.
So like you said, the culture of the people, it felt, you said, more like civilized and more akin to like people coming from like you, for you as someone coming from Europe. And
Yes.
it's interesting, because like and also we you mentioned that they have access to all the best, let's say, apps from our world, social apps, social platform, media platforms, and all that. And you
Hmm.
see how big of a difference it makes, right?
Yeah.
That China, people in China, they live in this bubble that they are surrounded by their own systems, which I'm sure are like the social media platforms or these social media groups where people chat. I guess they all can be under surveillance of the government, right? Even though it can happen here also, right?
Yeah.
If someone, if the government, even like in the European scenario or like United States, if they want to spy on you, they can. Some even,
Yep.
I guess, if they have some reason to suspect you from doing something, I guess it is possible also. But I don't believe the governments do it on a regular basis at all. Like
Yeah.
let's say in Czech Republic that they would spy on phones. I know people who the conspiracy theorists here, that there is many in Czechia. They would like you to believe that, but I don't believe that at all. That someone in
I don't
Czech
either.
government, wastes their time spying on you personally, like ordinary person. No,
Yeah.
they don't do that. They don't have time for it or the resources. Of
No,
course,
no.
if
I
you're
think
doing some shady stuff, I don't know, researching how to make a bomb or
to say if you're like openly agreeing with terrorist attacks
or
or
you
something
are
like
some kind of sick person, like some pedophile, or you searching on Google for, you know, some porn that is not
well,
something that you should be looking for, right? Then you can. Then I guess there are some systems that can notify someone in
yeah,
in the government that yeah, this person is looking up weird stuff, right? But that's like
yeah,
extreme cases. Yeah.
yeah.
So um, how would you recommend then if someone wanted to go for one trip, where should they go first, to China or to Taiwan, like if they wanted to go to that part of the world? I guess it's easier to get in Taiwan, no?
Yes, yeah. It's easier to get to Taiwan because you don't need a visa.
Mm-hmm.
Even though like for Slovaks, from what I've heard, since the prime minister is very on very good terms with the Chinese president now. So I think it happened like last month that Slovaks won't need visas in China
Okay, well, that's
from
the
like
first time
next year.
I'm hearing this.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
I think
Okay.
it was like after Fico appeared in that Russian TV
Yeah,
program.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So like right, I think it was the next day he went to China and he met with the Chinese prime minister and
Xi Jinping.
even with and that's not the prime minister, that's the
Oh, is
president. But
the
yeah,
president? Okay.
yeah. But I think he met with Xi Jinping as well.
Mm.
And yeah, I heard that they made a deal and
Okay,
Slovak
I will check it out.
uh Slovaks won't need visa
I will research
anymore.
that.
Yeah. So but for Czechs, as far as I know, you need visa if nothing has changed
Mm-hmm.
recently, but I don't think so. So yeah, it's easier to get to Taiwan. I guess when you go to Taiwan, it's less challenging. So, like if you just want a comfortable trip where you don't need to think much about the censorship or about the cultural differences, I would recommend Taiwan.
Mm-hmm.
Also, uh, also Taiwan is a nicer choice because of the language barrier,
Mm-hmm.
because most people, at least in the capital city in Taipei, they speak at least some kind of English.
So have you seen that big skyscraper, that famous Taipei Tower?
Yeah, 101. Yeah.
Yeah. How is it? How is it in person? Because it looks amazing on the pictures.
Yeah,
The
it is
design.
amazing. I've never been inside.
Okay.
Uh, I've been wanting to, but I just didn't have time. I've heard that it's very interesting to see, uh, because it's such a
Tall.
tall
Yeah.
skyscraper, and there's a lot of hurricanes, or typhoons,
Yeah.
typhoons, and um,
But it was built
earthquakes.
specifically to withstand all of that.
Yeah. But I wanted to say that, like, from what I've heard, like the the engineering, how they deal with earthquakes
Mm-hmm.
is very interesting. But I haven't seen it in my. Yeah, I've never been inside. Oh wait, I have. Sorry, but I've been only in because there is a mall inside, at least on the first few floors. So I was in the mall part.
But you haven't been on the
Uh,
like a top or something.
Top. No. I
But
haven't
you
been
can
to
go
the
there
top.
to.
Yes, you can go there, and yeah, you can see this engineering
Mm-hmm.
thing I'm talking about. But it's one of my favorite buildings in the world because it's interesting. And even though it's a skyscraper, it fits in the environment well.
But I guess because it's also like taller than anything you could have seen here in Czech Republic,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, yeah, it was the tallest building in the world for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, if you want a more rough experience, I guess, more like different, more challenging, then I would recommend China.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yeah,
I heard about this. I will check out that visa thing because I know from someone here that they went to China, but at beginning they had problems with visa because they worked as a in the office job, and someone in the China thought that they are journalists, so they didn't accept their
mm,
visa at first. They had to prove them that they are not journalists.
mm-hmm.
uh, so that was weird, to hear that, like they will just assume, and also that will be a problem that if you are a journalist to travel to China, I guess if you don't have any,
Yeah.
I guess you have to get some like special permit or special visa.
Mm. I mean, it depends, yeah, on what kind of visa do you need.
Mm.
If it's a tourist visa, work visa, and so on. I had a student visa, which was quite easy. I had a background of my school, so there was nothing. I wasn't questioned, or I had no issues with getting it.
So is it still true that they have this one children policy in China?
No. Now they can have 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
It was implemented not a long time ago, a few years ago. I don't remember when exactly. I feel like 2 years ago, maybe. When they allowed 3 kids, obviously because of the population decline.
Yeah,
And
and
but
aging
but the
population.
but the problem is that young people don't want to have 3 kids. Like they got used to having just one kid, two max, and more people don't want to have children at all.
But what would happen in those older times when if you had twins and you can only have one kid? Do they have to kill one
No,
at birth or
come on,
something?
no. It was not that harsh. No, twins were an exception.
Yeah.
But I mean, there were horrible things happening. Yeah, like children were killed especially in countryside or abandoned. But yeah, if you had twins, then it was an exception.
But it's still weird, right? That you could only have one kid.
Yeah. Like it's just
Imagine
one of those
living
experiences.
in such a world where your government like can impose such a law on your like a personal
Yeah,
which should be like your personal thing.
Yeah.
your personal decision, like if you want to have, of how many kids you want to have.
Yeah, it's insane. And I mean now China is like it has to face the consequences. And it's not easy for the young generation because like before when you had more children, there would be more income coming to the family because of the kids working. I mean, yeah, of course, like it would be more expensive to raise more kids, yeah. But now I'm talking like once the parents get old and there is no uh I forgot the word.
Pension?
Yeah, there is no pension system in China. So they because it's assumed that children will take care of the old parents.
But they don't get any money from government after they stop working.
No. So like so now when you had more children, the pressure would be like shared among the children, among the siblings.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have one child that has to take care of their mom and dad. Sometimes, even like if the grandchildren not grandchildren, grandparents are still alive. And if the child is in a marriage, so that's also the parents of the husband or the wife. So it's a big problem now because of this huge pressure on the individuals.
But now they
Because
want
now
them to have 3 kids at least. Now they can have up to 3 kids.
Yeah, but as I said, many people don't want to have 3 kids.
Yeah, but it's not like they have to have 3 kids.
No. It's just that.
But it's like in Japan, they face the similar problem. They faced even worse, right? The problem of people not making kids there. It's aging population and it's declining, right?
In Korea too. Yeah.
And Taiwan too?
Yeah. In Taiwan, there was never some child policy implemented there. It was just, it's just a choice of the people. And
to have one kid?
No, or just not have kids at all.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And so I actually made some interviews with Taiwanese a few years ago about this topic. And the most common answer I got was that having children is too expensive for the young people.
Mm-hmm.
So they were complaining that kindergartens are too expensive, school is too expensive because the education is not for free, and also because of this, we already mentioned it a bit today, that in East Asia the standards of what young people should learn is not just going to school, but they should also, play a piano, they should be great in math, they should speak perfectly English.
Play sports.
So after they do sports. So they also like.
But you're talking about Taiwan.
To have some extra education. No, I mean this is common for East Asia countries.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, all of this costs money. So, a lot of young people just.
But there will be a similar answer here if you ask 20 plus year old if they want to, like in Czechia, if they want to have a kid. I bet because I guess it's also something would apply to me, right? I would also tell like, there are a lot of other reasons why it would be hard for me to have a kid now at this point. But money would be right important because there are also like expectations that you put yourself in your head that okay, so if I want to have a baby, I have to I want to have a nicer or bigger flat or house, right, for the family, and to have a car and to have a better paying job and to provide, right, for the
Yep.
for the kid to. And it's not about like just the basics, the food or the place where you live in, but baby stuff, right? The clothes,
Yeah.
the accessories.
Yeah.
It's like also you have to buy all all the time, yeah, because the baby grows and we can throw away things after a month or two and they use them, right? So there is a lot of money for that.
Yep.
For the just the clothes and the various accessories, yeah, like the stroller or bottles, whatever. If someone,
I think it's a common thing in our generation.
Yeah,
Not to rush into parenthood.
yeah, because the social systems are not built for that. Also, like the support you get from government, like in Czech Republic, right, or Slovakia, is a similar situation. Like the support you get from government is not that much, right? The money you get for the kid. So.
It's difficult, and I understand these reasons. So yeah, even though in Taiwan or Korea, Japan, they never had a child policy, but yeah, because of these social factors and economical factors, they're facing a similar issue. And like I just know that the governments in Korea, Japan, Taiwan, they don't apply policies, but they try to encourage young people to have more kids. For example, by if you're gonna have free kids, then they would give you like some kind of a benefit, like you would receive some amount of money, even though there would be more symbolical and stuff like that. And I just listened to one interview recently about South Korea, and apparently they like sometimes they come with creative ideas how to improve this issue. Like for example, I think it's just an idea. I don't think it was applied yet, but one of them was, for example, that they extend lunch break. They would like to extend a lunch break, so people would go back home and have time to make kids.
To fuck during lunch break.
Yeah,
Okay. And they implemented this in South Korea?
No. I don't think so. I think it's just one of the ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
No.
yeah,
If they would pay for it, then I guess one way. But
you can see that it's something they like more countries face, and yeah, the governments also struggle because they cannot make people to have kids, right? So yeah, they try to be creative.
Not yet.
And come with not yet.
Yeah, but everything
Not
is
at
possible.
least. Yeah.
know?
Probably. Hopefully not. So hopefully they will just extend the lunch break.
Because
people
they
can have fun.
this reminds me of there is this good movie. Maybe you've seen it. Oh my god. Wait, I will check it. The movie. Yeah, it's called Children of Men.
No,
Have you
it
seen
doesn't
it?
tell me anything.
2006. I highly recommend this movie. I also would like to rewatch it. I haven't seen it in a long time. But basically, it takes place in the year 2027, so like near future. But in 2006, it was not that near future, but near future now.
Yep.
It's like the movie begins with the news on TV that the youngest person in the world has died, and the youngest person in the world was 18. So it basically is that because of this situation that people were not making kids, right? We slowly got into a point where even if people wanted to have kids, they couldn't have kids. Basically, like most of the people in the world became unable to have kids, right? So it's been 18 years, like at the beginning of the movie, since baby was born in the whole world. Yeah. And so it's like this dystopian, future, dystopian setting, and I really recommend it. I don't want to spoil anything further, but of course they try to find the solution, right? How to make women get pregnant again, right? And fertile. Like both men and women, I guess. It's like a human fertility problem is the main point, and they're trying to solve it, right? And look if there are any like kids that are hiding or something. Yeah? So it's a good. I will tell to also haven't seen it in a long time, but I recommend it. Yeah, Children of Men, or for Czech listeners, Potomci lidí, from 2006.
Okay.
It's old, but it is the story is great, and it's like a thriller style. So it's a really a lot of tension at all times.
Yeah, might be future at some point.
And it's I don't. It's hard to say. It's not gonna happen here because. Like we have still the countries where this is not a problem at all. Like in the less I don't want to say less civilized to not like offend these countries, but let's say there are countries where there is no problem with people not making enough babies, or making any at all. So I think we have covered a lot. I think even a lot more than I even anticipated, right? Because it's around we hit a 2-hour mark in 10 seconds. So it took much longer than I planned or expected. But I don't like to plan the time limit, I guess I said before.
Yeah. Of course, I don't mind.
Yeah, but people can can be surprised. Oh, why is it so long? But come try to talk to me. Come here. Talk to me, and you will see. That of course you can talk for this long if you have a interesting topic, and. Sometimes it's hard to say to just force yourself to not completely explain what you are trying to say, right? If you get it, what I mean.
I mean, yeah, I told you in the beginning, I was a bit nervous.
You were nervous. Oh, I don't know if I'm able to do it. And now here you are, 2 hours.
It went well.
Yeah, I think went by fast, but I think we can conclude it here. I still had some more questions or topics prepared in case, but I guess we can. Well, first I will ask you how did you like your stay here on the podcast?
I enjoyed myself very much. Thank you. I had a good time.
So the other other stuff I prepared we'll see how this goes. If people like it, and you said you like it, so I'll be open in some future again if you want to come to speak. Of
Yep.
course, it will not have to be.
I would love to.
It will not have to be on this topic, but I also really enjoyed this conversation we had. I think it went well. I think one more thing I would ask you. Could you share, like, how would you say in Chinese? Like, if I'm looking for a bathroom because I need to go to toilet, is there any like is there any like a way you can say it in
Uh,
like
yeah,
translated
you
it?
can say, you can say, 请问找卫生站卫生间
Is that it? That's short.
Yeah, I'm looking for a bathroom.
Okay. And that will not make people look weird. If you ask
No, it
if
just
you
means
ask Chinese to about toilet, that will not be
I
weird.
mean it just literally means excuse me, I'm looking for a bathroom.
Mhm.
So I don't think there is anything offensive about it. It's a very standard.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I believe you. So, thank you for that. And yeah, so we talked about we talked about China, Taiwan, the culture differences between those places and place we and Czech Republic, or like a European culture point of view. And I think there's a lot of interesting information, and I'm glad that you could be here to talk about it as someone who had like personal experience, right? You've been there, and you also speak the language. So you are a really interesting person. Don't ever think that you are not. And you see, you have a lot to share, a lot to talk about. So
Happy to hear.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It was a pleasure.
Yeah,
I've been waiting for the invitation
yeah, well,
for a long time.
I know I was slow with my podcast, but you see, I'm trying to produce the content, and I hope people you liked it today, everyone, and please like on YouTube, give like on the YouTube, comment or subscribe on both. The podcast is available on both YouTube and Spotify. And I say this all the time, like, please comment, right? But people usually just please comment and like, but people just don't do it. So I have to. That's why I always have to repeat myself, to tell it again. Maybe I should start saying this at the beginning of the podcast. Yeah, maybe that will be better for people, because maybe not that many people will make it to the end, or maybe not listening that closely towards the end. We have something to change, like, because it not just helps the algorithm, right, for the video to pop up more on people's feeds, but also would help me in some way if you write some. It can be critical comment or positive comment, whatever, right? But it's nice to hear, like, what did you think about, if you have listened to the podcast, what could be better, or what you liked. So that's why I say it, right? So I'm genuinely interested what you guys think about this episode, right? Yeah, but anyway, yes. Thank you again, Andrea, for coming.
Thank you too.
And we thank you all for joining in, to all my listeners, and we speak again sometime in the future. Yeah, have a nice rest of the day, and bye bye, everybody.
Bye bye.